I am driven, I am stubborn, and I am hopeful.
I am inspired, I am unapologetic, and I am human.
So I am a filmmaker, an actor, a writer, an author, and I'm also a father of two little girls. And I have known that I was transgender since I was about 2 years old, as soon as I could speak, and struggled very much as a small child with my transness. And I grew up in a world where there wasn't any trans representation. The word transgender wasn't used. It was kind of transsexual at best, and certainly never with any kind of positivity. And I wasn't able to actually medically transition until I was about 30 years old. And as soon as I did, life got much better.
I am a military veteran as a captain in the British Army, and now I'm an executive at a global bank. And ever since coming out as transgender, I've realised that I've had a voice and an opportunity to try and show the world that trans people are human, and actually there's so much more to us than being trans itself. And I try to use that voice and that privilege to educate other people and show people that we are human. When I came out as transgender in the British Army, I became overnight one of the highest ranking transgender officers in the British military. And it was a challenging thing to do, but at the same time, I received a huge amount of positivity from my peers and the people around me. And I think that's because in the military, you're very much valued for what you can do, because when you're in a firefight fighting for your life, it doesn't matter if you're trans or gay or black or Christian or Muslim or anything like that. They care about, can you shoot straight and can you run fast, and if need be, can you carry me home to my family? And I think the fact that I could demonstrate that in my day-to-day life meant that actually I got a lot of support.
Having grown up knowing that I was trans and not had any kind of help at all from my parents, who just were absolutely unaware of what transgender meant, from broader society, from my teachers at school, I became very lost. I became a very, very angry young person. And at 14, I discovered drugs, and at 15, I discovered alcohol. And I struggled very, very severely with drug and alcohol abuse until the age of about 25 years old, 26 years old, when I actually met another transgender man for the first time in my life, and felt hope for my future and hope that I might one day be happy. And interestingly, pretty much as soon as I began my medical transition, I just didn't need drugs anymore. I didn't need booze anymore, and I just stopped because all of a sudden I felt that life was worth living. So for me, it was very much just a form of self-medication until I was able to finally be me. And when people say, oh, but you were just a kid, of course you didn't know, of course you couldn't understand gender, you don't know what you want for breakfast from one day to the next. You do know as a trans person, you know as any kind of person, you know when something's wrong. And, I think for a lot of young kids, because there's no issue with their gender and how they identify, there is no reason for them to talk about it and no reason for them to pull at that string. But for me, obviously, I knew that there was something seriously wrong from a very young age, and that I was being given the wrong name and the wrong pronouns and put into the wrong clothes. And therefore, I was able to talk about it and vocalize who I was.
I think sometimes when people see people come out, it feels to them like this is happening overnight, but usually this is a feeling and an understanding of your identity that has existed for years, but actually due to the societal pressures or the fears of coming out around people, we hide it. And that's certainly what I did for many, many years. I knew who I was, but I didn't tell anybody because I was so fearful of what it would mean for me, my relationships, my family, my career. And so when I finally came out, it felt like a big shock to everybody else. And then maybe I've made that decision overnight. But in reality, it's been something I've been thinking about for a very, very long time.